And then the next time you inhale, reach your arms overhead. Take a full body stretch. Really stretch long here. So let the abdomen pull apart. Let the low back rise away from the ground. Fan out your fingers, but do point the toes. So you stretch the tops of your feet. Good. One more inhale there. Big full body stretch. And then exhale, pull both knees into the chest. We're going to wrap the arms around the shins. Draw the nose up towards the knees. So right away, coming into a cannonball shape. Tight little crunch. And then as you exhale, release the head and shoulders back down. Take your arms to a T, gentle twist to the right, knees drop towards that right elbow or right forearm. When you get into your twist, fully expand the abdomen. I know it's compressed a little bit from the rotation of the spine, but full inhale into the belly, into the low back. Stay in the twist as you exhale. So gently drawing navel towards spine, lengthening the low back, finding decompression there. We'll do one more full inhale, so expand the sides of the body, front body, back body. And this time as you exhale, draw belly button to backbone, engage the core muscles, and lift the knees back to center. So you're using the core to support that motion back to the middle. Hop the hips to the right, drop the knees to the left, and we'll take a few breath cycles on this side as well. So now you're twisting to the left, inhaling down into the low back, inhaling down into the abdomen, low abdomen. Good. And then as you exhale, collarbones lower, navel draws in, pelvic floor draws up. You're still in the twist. And we'll do one more full inhale together on this side. So as you breathe in, fill up all the way down to the low abdomen, all the way up to the collarbones, maybe up into the sinuses. You feel a little bit of spaciousness. Beautiful. And then as you exhale, use the engagement of the core and the breath out to lift the knees to center. Hop the hips back to the middle. Drop the feet to the floor for a bridge pose. You're going to walk your heels in close to your butt and then bring the hands down. Palms down on the mat to frame your hips. As you take the next inhale, lift the hips up off the ground. So come into that bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. You're going to squeeze the inner thighs towards the center line, but not to touch. So you can imagine you're holding some kind of weighted object between the inner thighs or the inner knees. And as you squeeze into it, you're also lifting it up. So whatever object you have, a yoga brick is easy. Usually that's easily accessible in the mind because we've worked with them before. So you can imagine squeezing a yoga brick between the inner thighs or knees, squeezing into it hard, and then lifting it up towards your ceiling. As you do, also try to decompress the lower back. So instead of scrunching the lower back muscles, find some space in the lower back. It might require that you tip the pubic bone up towards the belly button. Engage the core muscles even here. Take one more inhale. Good. Stay up for the exhale. Press the balls of the feet and heels down, toes and heels. Good. And then the next time you inhale, reach your arms overhead like your full body stretch. Lift the heels. Roll your spine to the floor. Vertebrae, 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 vertebrae. All the way down to the tailbone. And then when you get down to the tailbone, hug the knees into the chest again. Come back into that cannonball shape. We will start a little bit of core work from here. So as you lift the nose up towards the knees, really plant the low back down to the ground. I know you both have done this with me before, so you know the low back stays flat on the floor. As you inhale, reach out to your full body stretch, hover the hands, hover the feet, and then exhale, pull it back in, crunching into your cannonball shape. Let's do a few more of those. So as you inhale, full body stretch, reach out long, and then exhale, curl it in, nose towards the knees. Low back stays flat. Inhale, reach out, full stretch. Exhale, curl in, cannonball crunch. Inhale, full body stretch. Imagine your low back is a stamp on the floor. Press it firm. Inhale, exhale, come back into that cannonball crunch. Inhale, full body stretch. And then exhale, cannonball crunch. This time focusing on the front side of the body, still aware of the back side. Inhale, full body stretch, belly expands. Exhale, belly button pumps down towards the floor as you curl in. And we'll do 3 more. Inhale, full body stretch. Abdomen draws out. And then exhale, abdomen draws down towards the floor. Good. Now the pelvic floor, as you inhale, imagine expanding down towards the feet. And then exhale, pelvic floor draws up towards the collarbones. Inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, curl it in. Hold this time in your cannonball. Good, release the head and shoulders down to the ground. Then take the arms out to a T position, palms down, similar to how we do with a twist. You're gonna take the feet straight up to the ceiling, and then we're slowly gonna start to drop both feet towards the right hand. It may come to hover over the floor. It may come all the way to the floor. Then using the abdominal muscles, lift it back up, all the way to center, feet go towards your ceiling. And then on the exhale, so the breath out, drop the feet to the left, opposite side. Like you're gonna touch the left fingers, and then inhale, take it all the way back to center. And as you exhale, switch. Now, as we go through a few more rounds on our own, first piece is that you wanna keep it with the breath cycle, so your inhale takes you up, and then a slow exhale takes you down to the opposite side. Second piece I really want you to focus on is both shoulders stay on the floor. So if you get to a point where your shoulder lifts off the ground, you've met the max, you're stopping there. You don't have to get all the way to the floor. You'll inhale to center, you'll exhale to the maximum on the other side. So if the right shoulder starts to lift, you stop there. And then you pull the belly button in. So remember, the focus is on the core and moving through center. By stopping at that place where your shoulder blade lifts away from the ground, you're actually doing more work for your core and you're benefiting your core muscles more. So keep that in mind as you go through a few more rounds. And then one more thing that I'll focus on here, if the knees need to bend a little bit, that's perfectly fine. So if you want to bend the knees so that you can go a little bit lower, that's all right. But do keep extending out through the feet. And then the next time the feet come up towards the ceiling, pause there for a moment. We're going to take the hands, interlace them behind the head, lift the head and shoulders off the floor, and then slowly start to lower the feet. And same idea here, only this time with the low back. So instead of the shoulders lifting away from the floor, because they are, when the low back starts to lift, pause there, and then exhale your way back up, feet to the ceiling. And then you'll inhale, start to expand the abdomen and lower the legs. When the low back starts to lift away from the ground, pause for a moment, push the navel towards the spine and exhale your feet back up. And we'll do 3 more. So inhale, lower the feet down. Exhale, push, navel to spine, feet to the ceiling. Inhale, release, feet towards the floor, low back stays down. Good, and then exhale, push, belly button to backbone, feet to the ceiling. Last one, inhale, release feet. Hover at your stopping point, and then exhale, feet back to the ceiling. Good, release the head and shoulders down to the ground, bend the knees in towards, feet towards the butt. And then you're just gonna rock the low back on the floor. So drop knees to the right, knees to the left a few times. Drop knees to the right, drop knees to the left. Think of it as a massage for the low back. So as you gently rock side to side, you're smoothing out the low back muscles, the small joints in the sacrum. Good, and then one last bridge pose just to stretch out the abdomen after we worked it quite a bit. So drop your hands down by your sides, feet down behind the hips. Lift the hips up off the floor. It doesn't have to be your highest bridge pose ever. Do keep integrity of the low back and the thighs, so you're pulling thighs towards each other, low back stays long. But it doesn't have to be a really aggressive bridge pose. Just a chance to open up the front side of the body, open up the hip creases, the quads. Good, take one more inhale. Stay lifted with your exhale. Beautiful, and then reach your arms overhead, lift your heels, and roll your spine back down to the floor. In the middle of class, we'll do one more piece of our core work, but for now, we're gonna grab the backs of the thighs, start to rock and roll forward and back. So the whole length of your spine, you're gonna rock shoulders to tailbone, shoulders to tailbone. And then when you're ready for it, rock yourself all the way up to a Malasana squat. So you can plant the soles of the feet on the ground, hop up onto the feet, take your hands to heart center. Yes. Nice. Take your time getting there. When you do get there, find your focus. You're going to draw the thumb knuckles into the sternum. We place the palms of the hands together. So Anjali Mudra is a really good balancing mudra that we can take with the hands. It's a good way to think of starting to focus the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. So you're bringing a little bit more harmony to the body. You're also pushing the soles of the feet into the earth, but not just the heels. Oftentimes the weight in Malasana will want to rock into the heels. So make sure that as you stay focused in the posture, as you stay internal, You also recognize your foundation. So you're rocking weight into the balls of the feet, into the toes. And then we're not only focusing on pushing the soles of the feet down, but also lifting the crown of the head up. And a nice thing that you can do there to think of lifting the crown of the head is imagine what it would feel like to push the top of your skull into something, like you're trying to push through it. And if it helps even to put your hand there for a moment and push the top of your skull into your hand, pushing down, you can do that. So find some upward lift through the crown, some downward press through the feet. We're going to be here for 5, so long deep breaths through the nose for 4, 3, 2, stay on the 1, and then take your hands to the floor, lift your hips up and forward fold. And you can walk the feet together, do about hip distance apart with the feet. Drop the weight of the head heavy. So oftentimes we want to look at the floor because it feels a little bit more safe, but instead, know you're safe here. Look back between your calves. So instead of the eyes looking at the floor in front of your feet, the crown of the head is looking at the floor in front of your feet. Interlace the hands behind your back, draw your knuckles up towards the ceiling. And then as you do that, instead of just lifting knuckles towards the ceiling, see if you can gently push them up as if you were trying, once again, to try to kind of push a ceiling higher. So we did that with the crown of the head in Malasana, and now with the knuckles, you're pushing the ceiling higher. Shake the head no. Look left, look right, look left, look right. Good, and now shake the head yes. So you will look at the floor and then shift back, gaze towards the knees. Good, and then look at the floor and then gaze between the knees. Last time, look at the floor, gaze between the knees and release the hands to the ground. Bend the knees quite a bit. Now we're going to do something a little different here. You're going to walk the feet as wide or a little bit wider than the hips. Walk your hands forward. And then try to drop your hips in line with the knees so your femur bones are parallel to the floor. Look between your index fingers. Take an inhale and inflate the belly. Press the feet down firmly. And then exhale, lift the hips, but keep the hands and feet where they're at. You're going to straighten the legs as much as you can. Good, now really feel the decompression of your low back. That's your sacral area or our area of expression and creativity, sexuality, sensuality. Feel the low back extend. Bend the knees. Drop your femur bones parallel to the floor. Look between your fingers. And then the next time you exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips. Push the feet and fingers down firm. Last time like it, as you inhale, drop the hips, level with the knees, which means, again, thigh bones will be parallel to the floor. Look at your fingers. And then exhale, push feet and fingers down and straighten the legs, lift the hips. Good. Now from this position, it's already a short down dog. You're going to walk it into a long down dog or a regular old down dog. So plant your hands firm at the top of your mat, walk the feet back to the opposite end of the mat. And then when you get into that down dog, take any movements that you need. So you can pedal out the feet, you can push the heels down, you can find a twist in down dog. Let this be a little bit of freestyle time so that you can really start to warm up your body in the way that you need today. My own body is craving out pedaling of the feet. Might be a habit, so I'm going to think more, what does my body crave? Maybe it craves rolling into high plank and back to down dog a few times, or again, maybe you crave taking a twist. So allow yourself to kind of unfold. Take about 4 more breaths to do whatever you need to do. If you're doing something involving 2 sides, do the opposite side as well. Yes, nice work, you guys. Now let's settle into downward facing dog, pushing both heels towards the floor. Relax the jaw once again. Good. In down dog, take a deep inhale through your nose. And then through the nose or the mouth, go ahead and release it. Keep pushing fingerprints down, knuckles down. Let's do 2 more breaths in a still downward facing dog. So as you inhale, think of inflating the low back. As you exhale, think of decompressing, belly button towards the spine. And then a big inhale, fill up, inflate. And a slow, steady exhale. Let the cervical spine, the neck grow longer. And then last time, like it. Big inhale. Let the whole rib cage inflate. So sides of the ribs expand laterally. Front and back of the ribs expand. As you exhale, slowly start to release that down dog into a forward fold. You're going to walk your feet towards your hands and arrive in that forward bend at the top of the mat. When you get to your forward fold, separate the feet hip distance apart. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lengthen your spine forward. Pause here for a moment. Now, oftentimes in our forward fold, halfway lifted, we let the shoulders drop down. So think instead of drawing your shoulder blades together, think of how it would look to make a little bit more elegance in the collarbones. You're drawing the shoulder blades together. The collarbones start to spread. You have a little bit more gracefulness there in the front of the chest. Take one more inhale. Good. And then exhale, forward fold. Yes, nice work, you guys. Slide the hands up the shins, lengthen forward one more time. I know it's all the little subtleties. Sometimes they're harder to catch on to, or sometimes they feel really good to actually get. So pause there for a moment. Continue to breathe. Deep inhale, fill the belly, spread the collarbone. So think so much elegance in the collarbones. Let yourself have a lot of grace there. Good. And then as you exhale, forward fold. Stamp the feet down firm. They're planted. And then inhale, rise to stand all the way up. Reach up and look up. Good. And then exhale, thumbs down to heart center. We'll go through a few rounds of sun C. So as you inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, hinge forward and fold. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. Lower the knee down. Keep your hands on the mat and inhale your chest up. So you've got extension in that right side of the body, compression in the left side of the body. Let's move back to a downward facing dog. So you can tuck the right toes under, step to downward facing. And then as you inhale, shift it forward into a high plank, all the way out to the top of your push-up. Good. Hold in your high plank this first round. Take an inhale. Lower only the knees on the exhale. We're going to cross the ankles. Take an inhale as you press away from the floor with your hands. And then as you exhale, slowly lower your body all the way to the floor, like you're delivering the most precious object to the ground. Good. And then release your feet to the floor. Inhale, lift to low cobra. And then exhale, let's move back to downward facing dog. Try to keep the hands exactly where they are. Rise up to downward facing. Hold for an inhale. Stay with your exhale. Right foot steps forward on your inhale. Breathe in, step it forward. Lower the left knee. Untuck the toes. The next time you breathe in, lift the chest up, but keep the fingers down. And then the next time you breathe out, step to forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, rise to stand, reach your arms up high. We're gonna go right back down to forward fold on the exhale, hinge over the hips. Step the left foot back, so opposite foot this time, lower the knee down to the ground. Inhale, rise up to that low lunge. Fingers stay on the floor, spread the collarbones. Exhale to downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up and back. Then inhale, shift forward into high plank. Hold it for a moment. Exhale, lower the knees, cross the ankles, push away from the floor. Inhale. Deliver the body to the ground on the exhale. And then inhale, rise all the way up to low cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. From your downward facing dog, inhale, left foot forward. Step it through, lower the right knee. Inhale, rise up, chest lifts, fingers stay down. Forward fold on the exhale. Inhale, rise to stand, reach the arms up high. Thumbs to heart center this time as you exhale. So that's a full round of sun C. We're only going to do one more. As you inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Right foot steps back, inhale. Lower the knee. Keep breathing in as you lift the chest. And then exhale all the way back to your downward facing dog. I know it's a stretch of the breath, but try to keep that length. And then as you inhale, shift all the way forward, plank pose. As you exhale, this time knees come down, and then right away lower all the way to the floor. Same breath out. And then the inhale takes you into your cobra pose. Lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale to downward facing dog. The breath is slow, so we're going to keep the movement slow and linked to the breathing pattern. As you inhale, step the right foot between the palms, keep breathing in, lower the left knee, keep breathing in, lift the chest. I know it's a stretch of the breath. As you exhale, step forward, keep breathing out, keep breathing out, keep breathing out. When you're ready to inhale, rise to stand, reach the arms up, palms touch above you, right back down to forward fold on the exhale. This time, left foot steps back. Keep breathing in as you lower the knee and lift the chest. And then use the whole exhale to move to down dog. So take it slow, breathe out, shift back, press the heels. Shift forward in the high plank, inhale. And then your choice of how you take that chaturanga vinyasa. On your exhale, lower down for your version of chaturanga. On your inhale, take your cobra or up dog. And on your exhale, move to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes. Keep exhaling as you lift the hips and push the heels. Inhale, step the left foot forward, drop the knee, lift the chest. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Good, and then as you breathe out, you use that whole exhale to move forward. Fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Reach the arms up high. As you exhale, thumbs to heart center, we close that round. And we prep for another malasana. So find your focus here, find your steadiness, stay internal. So there will be plenty of things that call your attention outside of your body. And I'm going to challenge you, and challenge myself to not let those external things pull you outside of yourself. So gather back in. And each time it happens, gather back in. Stay with the pose. Walk your feet out to the outer edges of your mat. Turn your toes out so they spill off the edges of the mat. For this round, keep the thumbs at heart center. So instead of reaching the arms up, we're just going to start to bend the knees and elevator our way down into malasana. You might have to adjust the feet, and that's okay. But keep your spine elongated. So lots of length from the tip of your tail to the top of your skull. You can imagine almost like there's a lead weight hanging from the tip of the tailbone. So if there was something so heavy attached to that sacrum point, it would be drawing you down. But then imagine from the tip of the tailbone drawing down, you're resisting it by lifting up through the top of the head. And then even though the top of the head is lifting up, drop the chin just slightly. So you create a little bit of a lock between the collar and the chin, which will lengthen the back of the neck. All of the subtleties. Take an inhale, expand the belly. Stay with your exhale. And then we have 3 more breaths to either remain in that malasana squat or take your crow pose. So your choice of what you do, you don't have to be 100% in either one of those options. If you decide to stay in your squat and you want to be in a different variation, that's fine. If you want to play with your crow pose and you don't get all the way into it, also fine. So do what you're going to do, but stay present with it. Again, every time that you feel pulled outside of yourself, draw back in. Come back to center. What is center for you? Only you know. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, wherever you're at for 1. We're going to meet in a squat. So lower the feet down if they're not already. Drop back down into your malasana. As the feet ground onto the earth, use that almost like they have little rootlets to really stabilize your body. Rise all the way up to stand. So feet are planted firm. Reach up this time as you inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back down by the sides, walk the feet in parallel to each other. We're going to go through just a regular sun salutation. So inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, forward fold over the legs. Halfway lift on your inhale. And then step or hop to your chaturanga on the exhale. You can spring the feet back. You can step them back, lower down. Inhale to your back bend, either cobra or up dog. And then stick with your breath pattern on the exhale, downward facing dog. Hold it, take an inhale through the nose. And through the nose or the mouth, exhale. Good. We're going to inhale to lift the right leg. So reach the right heel high towards the ceiling. As you exhale, bend right knee, tap the right tricep. Lift it high on the arm. Inhale, send it up and back. And then exhale, pull belly button to spine, right knee to left tricep. Inhale, up and back. And then exhale, right knee to the nose. Good, step it through. Lower the left heel to the floor, rise for warrior one. So this time, Virabhadrasana 1, the chest frames the front of your mat. The biceps frame your head. Good, stabilize with your back heel. Good, so one little detail here, make sure that you're pulling right hip back, left hip forward. So we're working on squaring the hips to the short edges of the mat. Beautiful. Now interlace your hands behind the back, draw the knuckles down. As you inhale, look at your ceiling, pull the collarbones apart. And as you exhale, keep them spread, but bow forward inside of the right thigh. Knuckles to the ceiling. Look back between your left calf, or behind your left calf. Keep the gaze steady as you draw the knuckles towards the sky. Drop the crown of the head towards the floor. Push the left heel down firm. And then inhale, rise back up, warrior one. From here, we're going to open up to warrior two. So go ahead and adjust the footing as you need. Find that second warrior. Right knee stacks over the right ankle. The knife edge of your left foot presses into the floor firm. So the whole edge, pinky toe down to the outside of the heel. Now we're going to spend 4 full breaths in our warrior two, which we don't do often in my class. I want you to try to go to the depth of your posture. If you're able to get that femur bone in front, parallel to the floor, find that position. It's going to require a very deep bend of the right knee and a lot of openness in the hips. So if it's not there, that's okay, but find as much depth as you can in that front lunge. Hold it for 2 more breaths as you inhale, expand the belly and the low back. As you exhale, lock the belly button and the spine together, lift up through your spinal cord. And then 1 more inhale, fill up all the way down to the pelvic floor. Exhale, imagine pulling the pelvic floor up towards the crown of the head. Keep the depth of the front leg, reverse your warrior, inhale. Now find your side angle on the exhale, right elbow on the right thigh, left bicep by the ear. As you reach through that left side of the body, imagine that it's an infinite line, so you can reach longer past the fingers, longer past the floor, through the heel. Good, and then where does that center point originate? So maybe it feels like your ribs are stretching, and that could be the center point. Maybe that space between the hip bone and the bottom ribs. But find the point where it feels like the extension is originating. Really stretch through that area. Take 1 more inhale. And then slowly bring the left hand down inside of the right foot. We're going to move into a lizard pose. So you can start to set yourself up by dropping the right hand down, walking the right foot out to the right. I like to take my right foot off the long edge of the mat. So if you want to go onto the floor with that foot, you can. Make sure that your left heel is now puffed up over the ball of the foot, and then begin to rock forward and back. So you're going to find a stretch in the right hip, the right glute, and the left quad and left hip crease. There will be a tendency to want to strain the neck or crane the neck up here. If that does happen to you, no worries, but try to keep the neck long. Again, think elegance in the neck, elegance in the collarbones. Beautiful. And now drop the back knee down to the ground, untuck the toes, and then a few options. None of them are better than other options. Some of them are deeper, but it's not necessarily better. It just depends on what your body needs to open and feel in harmony. So one option would be to drop the elbows down. And if that feels like a nice challenge, keep it. If it feels like a forceful challenge, release it. Another option is going to be to bend your left knee even more and then reach back with the right hand. And I'm going to suggest grabbing the pinky toe edge side of the foot just because that will give you more external rotation of your shoulder. So not only is the left quad getting a nice stretch, but the right shoulder is getting a nice release too, in which case you want to look back towards the back edge of your mat or the wall behind you. Gaze stays lifted, not towards the ceiling, but just at the wall behind you. And then which position you choose, find something that's especially interesting about it for you. So I'll give you an example. Is for myself, I feel the stretch on my right bicep, and I don't typically pay attention to that area. I also notice that my left pinky side of the hand wants to take more weight, and I don't want to do that. I want to spread the weight evenly over my left palm. So find a place in your position, whatever position you have that feels interesting to you, and examine it. Get curious about it. See if there's anything you want to change or anything that feels especially illuminating about it. Good. Stay there. Take another inhale. And then we're slowly going to make our way back to down dog on the exhale. So you're going to plant your right hand, tuck the left toes, step back, downward facing dog. Stay in down dog on the inhale. And then either tiger, lion's breath, or open mouth exhale. Release the breath out. Shift forward to high plank, inhale as you go, and then your version of chaturanga as you exhale. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Right away, inhale, lift the left leg. And then as you exhale, bend the left knee and tap the left tricep. Inhale, send it up and back. As you exhale, tap the right tricep. And then inhale, send it up and back. As you exhale, knee to nose. Step it through between the palms. Lower your right heel for warrior one to begin. So you're going to rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Bend deep into the left knee. Find that position where your left shin, the whole bottom of the left leg, is perpendicular to the floor. Not at a diagonal, but perpendicular. And then holding that position, just check in with the hips. Make sure that the left hip is drawing back, right hip is drawing forward. Both hips start to draw forward at that point. And then interlace the hands behind you. Pull the knuckles towards the heels. Look up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in as you fill belly, rib cage, chest. And then as you exhale, bow forward inside of that left thigh, taking your humble warrior. Your left shoulder is going to come to the inside of the left knee, and then continue to look back past the right calf as you find the balance. I know I had mentioned it in warrior one, but do make sure that your left shin bone is still perpendicular to the floor. It's going to want to slip into a diagonal, but keep that left shin, left calf muscle perpendicular to your ground. Firm up your right quad muscles, so engage it, lift the right kneecap up. And then as you continue to press through the right heel, use it to stabilize your rise into warrior one. Come back up, Virabhadrasana 1. And then find the footing for warrior 2. Opening up into second warrior will probably require you to move that right foot back. Once you get the footing, bend the left knee deep. Once again, you might try to find that thigh bone parallel to the floor. Might not happen today. If it doesn't happen today, know that it's a possibility for you. So over time, you want to get the left foot as far forward as you can to make it happen. This looks excellent. Yes. And then with that position, with your left thigh bone parallel to the floor, with the left knee bent deep, 90-degree bend, you want to still evenly distribute the weight on your feet. So notice where you might be putting more pressure on the feet. For myself, I notice it a lot on the inner right heel. So I'm going to shift some weight to the pinky toe of my right foot as well. Try to even that out a little. We have 2 more breaths here, so stay deep in your warrior 2. You got it. Take an inhale all the way down to the low belly. Stick with it. As you exhale, depress the shoulders or decompress the shoulders. Draw them down away from the jawline. Good. And then the next inhale, reverse your warrior. Keep the depth of the lunge in the left leg. Big inhale in your reverse warrior. Side angle on your exhale. Left elbow comes to the left thigh. Right bicep up by the ear. Yes. So we're in this one only for a few breaths, not as long as our warrior 2, but you do want to find that extension through the right side. As you Send the right collarbone. So don't let the right collarbone press up towards the jaw. Don't let the right shoulder press up towards the ear. Draw it away, create some space there. But as you do, continue to lengthen through the right arm. Lengthen down through the right heel. Good. Stay for one more inhale. Begin to move into your lizard pose on the exhale. Right hand comes down inside of the left foot. Left foot can walk all the way to the left, so off the edge of the mat. Left hand comes down. When you get set up for your perfect lizard pose, begin to rock forward and back on the ball of your right foot. So you're sawing out, sawing forward and back to find more length in the right quad, the right hip flexor. Maybe also wakening up the back of the left hip. Now drop the right knee to the floor nice and slow, untuck the right toes, and take your depth of lizard pose that you want. It can be elbows on the floor in line with the left heel. It can also be bending the right knee more than it already was, taking the left hand back to grab the pinky toe edge side of the foot. And then as you hold there in your version of lizard pose, let the right thigh bone drop towards the floor. So you're surrendering this side of the hip, this side of the thigh bone down towards the ground. Instead of clamping it closed to resist the stretch, see if you can just soften and release. You're letting that femur bone fall towards the floor. Holding here with breath will be another chance that the mind might slip out, the attention, I should say, might slip out of the body. It might go towards the past, the future. It might go towards any external stimulation. So if you find that that's happening, draw your senses back inward. Notice what's happening in the body. Notice the sensations of your own body. And then slowly begin to release that right foot if you have it. We're going to make our way into downward facing dog by tucking the right toes under, stepping back, and we meet in downward facing. Good. When you get into that downward facing dog, take an inhale through the nose, and then through the nose or the mouth, exhale. One more time, big inhale. Long, steady exhale. And one more big inhale. Exhale. Bring the knees down to the mat for a moment. We're going to come all the way down to a seat on the heels, so you can sit back on the heels. Release the palms up, so you're going to take backs of the hands to the thighs, shoulders relax. Good. Deep inhale through the nose. And slow exhale. Find that pump of the navel. So you're encouraging the core muscles to firm on the breath out. You're encouraging the spine to lengthen up. Do a couple more rounds of breath on your own. Consider this the same kind of rest you would take in a child's pose, except for instead of leaning forward, releasing the forehead to the floor, you're remaining upright. So find the rest here. Find connection with the breath. Couple more rounds. If it would feel better to take a child's pose, you're welcome to go into that, but I want to keep if you can, keep the spine upright. And then the next time you exhale, begin to move into your downward facing dog. Move from the breath so that when you inhale, it takes you up into the down dog. And then walk your thumbs and index fingers together to touch. We will be hopping into a squat, so find that position where your thumbs, your index fingers are together. Then bend the knees, push the hips back, coiling back, and then spring forward into your Malasana squat. Land the feet outside the hands, pick the thumbs up to heart center. Drop your tailbone down, crown of the head up. Go back to the first couple of rounds of squat that we did and see if you can notice some sensations, or check in once again with different key points that we touched on. So areas of push, areas of pull, areas of stability, elegance. And then from that malasana, you're going to take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes. And then if you can, without the help of the hands, fall back onto the sits bones, lift your feet up like a boat pose. And if you can, extend the legs all the way forward. So you're holding the peace fingers on the big toes as you take your boat pose today. If that's not going to work out, that's okay. You can also do it with separate legs. You can separate the legs. And then you can also take the boat pose that you're familiar with, which is knees bent, shins parallel to the ceiling. Whatever variation you've arrived to, we're going to hold it for 10, for 9, 8, 3, 2, slowly on the 1, release the feet to the floor, place your hands back behind you. We'll open the front side of the body by pushing hands and feet down, lift to your reverse tabletop. Now hold here as you fan the fingers out wide, press all 10 fingerprints down, lift the hip bones up and open, lift the chin, neck and throat go open and long. Hold for 3, 2, 1, slowly lower the hips, back to your version of boat pose. So you can do, once again, you could do shins parallel to the ceiling, typical version that we take that you're familiar with. Otherwise, you straighten out the legs, hook the peace fingers around the toes. Hold here as you straighten the spine, and we'll hold for 10. Yes, hold it for 3. And then slowly lower the feet down. Place the hands back behind you. This is 2 of 3. Press the fingerprints and toe prints down with the hips up. Open the hip creases, open the throat, look at your ceiling and hold for 4. Engage the back muscles. Good. 1, lower down, release hips to the floor. Last round of boat pose. So if you tried out maybe a modification, try a little bit more challenging of a variation this time. If you need to go back, you can always backtrack. We're going to be here for 10. Stick with it. We're here for 5. Good. Slowly on the 1, release it down. Nice work, you guys. And then release hands back behind you, lift the hips, hold for 5. Good. And then slowly release the hips down to the ground. Take a moment to sit cross-legged, almost like you're letting all of the dust settle. Release hands down to the knees. Relax the shoulders away from the jaw. Descend the tailbone, ascend the top of the skull. And then steady and smooth out the breath. Good. Dust settles, similar to a snow globe, having been shaken up. Now all of that falls back down to the bottom. No fancy way to get there. You're going to stand up so that we can prep for a couple of balancing poses. So whatever way is going to be best for you, rise up to a standing posture. When you do get up to stand, steady yourself on both feet first. So find a Tadasana that feels very balanced, very even. Good. In that balance, see if you can find it even between upper left and right side of the body. So not just the feet. See if you can find it in the face. See if you can find that balance between left and right in the neck, in the shoulders, the chest cavity, the hips, the legs. And then shifting weight into only the right foot, lift your left knee into the chest. I'm not going to mirror you. I'm just going to use my words to tell you. So take your left knee into the chest, draw it in. Good. And then full disclosure, one of my least favorite postures, we're going to do eagle pose. So you're going to cross your left thigh over the right thigh. Start to bend the knees so it looks like you're sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. We're just going to do the legs to begin because I want to give you the option, if you want it, to hook your left toes behind the right calf. It's not mandatory, not necessary, but it's an option. You can also tap the left toes down beside the right foot. Find a little kickstand for your balance, or you can hover the toes. Now take your arms out to a T to begin. Left knee is on top, so left elbow is going to go on bottom. We're going to swing the right elbow over the left. And then same thing here, either backs of the hands or palms can come together to make it deeper. But we do want to lift the elbows and drop the hips. So as the hips lower, elbows go higher. Hips lower, elbows go higher. Now, one other thing that can be especially tricky here is the wrists want to tuck in towards the nose, but instead of tucking wrists towards the face, press your forearms away from the face. So imagine you're trying to press the forearms into an imaginary wall in front of you as you lift the elbows. I'll show you from the side as well. So you have, instead of elbows coming in or wrists coming in towards the face, press them away. Lift the elbows up, and it's a continuous action of pressing away, rising up, dropping the shoulder blades down, lifting elbows up, pressing forearms away, dropping hips down, squeezing the legs together. We're going to be here for 5. So breathe deep for 4. For 3, stick with it, you got it. For 2. For 1. Keep the legs, release the arms out to that T. We're going to go out the same way we came in. So now push the right foot down, lift the left knee into the chest, interlace. And then slowly, like you don't want to do it, release the left foot to the floor. Good. And then once you get there, shake out the hands and the feet. Nice. Find some playfulness with that. So we just did a lot of seriousness in eagle pose. Find some playfulness in your shakeout. We're going to go back to Tadasana pose. So in your Tadasana pose, ground the feet. Stay there for a moment. Feel both feet rooted down. Shift weight into your left foot and pull your right knee into the chest. Now this time we know where we're going, and it's going to be a little bit harder to go slow perhaps. So as you keep that in mind, stay with me step by step. There's a reason that we pause in each of the steps. So right now you're pushing the left foot down, you're rising up, you're feeling the sensation of standing on one foot. Good. And then go ahead and start to move only the leg position into place. So now you're crossing the right knee over the left knee. You're finding the foot position that works best for you. So as you descend the hips, you might tuck your right toes behind the left calf. You might hover, you might tap down into the earth. Find the arm position, arms to a T to begin. So with the right knee on top, we're going to do right elbow on bottom. Hook the arms, hook the elbows. Either palms together or backs of hands together. Nice. And then from there, we continue to find opposition. So where are the areas of opposing force? We lift the elbows, we drop the hips. We descend the shoulder blades, so pull the tips of your shoulder blades down towards your pants line as you lift the fingertips. As you squeeze the legs together, you keep that descension of hip bones down. Draw navel in, belly button up, tailbone down. And then keep going through that checklist. Elbows up, forearms forward. Shoulder blades down, navel in. Tailbone down, thighs in, belly button up for 3. Nice work, Jenny, for 2. Release only the arms, so take the arms to a T, and then stand, bring the right knee into the chest, interlace there, hold for a moment, and then begin to lower the right foot all the way down. Yes, nice and slow. And then shake it out. Shaking is such a good way to kind of break up any tension that's been holding, especially if you do kind of like, for example, like if you spend a lot of time texting or spend a lot of time at the computer, shaking out the wrist is a good way to break up some tension holding patterns. So anytime that you shake, you're releasing, you're allowing the nervous system a reset. So even though it might feel silly or pointless, do it. We will come down to the mat right away. I apologize, time got away real quick for me today. So go ahead and come down to the mat. I am gonna skip our Shavasana today, which is not very good yogi etiquette, but we're gonna take a twist because I feel like that will be really balancing for our practice today. So you're gonna draw the knees into the chest, take the knees over to the left side of your mat. If you can find a Shavasana-like quality to this twist, please do. Start to steady out the breath and then release any attention to the breath. Just allow the body to be full ease, full relaxation. If it's not your deepest twist, that's perfectly fine. Allow the body to rest in this shape. We'll find balance from left to right as we take these rotations of the spine, the hips. Good. And then moving with an exhale, take the knees back to center and trade sides. We'll drop the knees to the right. Same thing on this side. See if you can find a relaxation quality to it. Instead of going into a deep rotation of the spine, allow the weight of the body to find the twist and find the decompression that the spine needs. And then using an exhale, come back to center. Make your way gently up to a seat. You can either rock to a side and press up, or you can just roll on the spine up to a seated position. We will come upright together. In that seated position, rest the hands down on the lap and take a moment here to really focus on wrapping up the practice. So allowing yourself to be in this space, taking a moment to be grateful to yourself for having shown up to your yoga practice today. And taking a moment also to be grateful for the path of yoga. So all of the teachers that have passed down from lineage, teacher to teacher to teacher, considering yourself a teacher as well in that chain. It was an honor to guide you through practice today. Thank you so much, Jenny, for showing up and sharing your time. Namaste.